During the DNC convention last month, the only thing the presenters mentioned and fear-mongered about more than Trump was Project 2025. And just like their accusations and warnings against Trump, their fears and dangers of Project 2025 were just as misguided, just as misleading, and in many cases, just outright lies. Rosie the Riveter here, dropping more truth bombs to destroy fake news and propaganda. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to get new videos when they are uploaded. Before I get into today's riveting topic, I want to remind you of something I pointed out in my last video. Remember, Obama completely subscribed to the writings of radical communist Saul Alinsky, who was also the admired subject of Hillary Clinton's college thesis. In Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, he wrote, "Accuse your opponent of what you are doing to create confusion and to inculcate voters against evidence of your guilt." So remember, these people, meaning the Obamas, the Bidens, the Harrises, the Clintons, the Democrat leadership, are well versed in projection politics, a tactic which is supported, promoted, and purposely propagandized by legacy media. If you watched the recent Democrat National Convention, it became quite clear there was pretty much one thing on their minds: Trump.
Who in the hell does he think he is? Who does he think he is?
Indeed, there was very little said at the DNC about the big issues facing the country. Throughout the day, there was only 3 mentions of inflation, only 8 of the border, 6 mentions of crime, but more than 140 mentions of Donald Trump. They seem a tad obsessed.
The other target in their crosshairs was Project 2025. First, they claim it is Trump's plan for America. That's lie number 1. He has nothing to do with it and has said so repeatedly, including in his debate with Harris, yet she continued to call it Trump's plan. The Heritage Foundation, the conservative think tank that did design Project 2025, also confirms he is not involved in it, which was fact-checked and verified by USA Today. The truth is so obvious, even CNN called out those lying about Trump's affiliation with the document.
Listen to this claim from Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware about Project 2025 and former President Trump.
He has, with his friends, said the quiet parts out loud. But not only said them out loud, he wrote a book about it. What's it called? Project 2025.
That is false. Trump did not write Project 2025. The project's big policy document published by the Heritage Foundation think tank lists dozens of people as authors, editors, contributors. Donald Trump is not among them.
The Democrats are knowingly and unashamedly lying to you about this. So why should we believe the rest of their accusations, such as it's a license for fascism? This supposed democracy-killing document is described as the Republicans' playbook for turning our democracy, though we're actually a democratic republic, into a dictatorship. Remember, this is how it is described by people who were at that very moment celebrating the nomination of a presidential candidate no one democratically voted for. But are their accusations true? Democrats started their scare tactic campaign by pointing out how big it is and long it is. They even enlarged it to bring their point home.
You know how when you download an app and there are hundreds of pages there that you don't read, it's just the terms and conditions, and you just click agree, right? Well, these are the terms and conditions of a second Trump presidency. You vote for him, you vote for all of this. Let's take a look.
They then suggested how so much must be hidden within its endless pages. This is projection, folks, as it's coming from the party that constantly brings massive major bills to the floor and then tells Congress they have one night to review it before the vote. If anyone questions them, they then attack and act offended that anyone would question what was in the humongous package that was just tossed in their laps. Back in 2009, Slate asked if Obama's 1,000-page health care bill was too long and subsequently concluded, not really. In fact, they argued such long bills are commonplace. Major spending bills frequently run more than 1,000. This year's stimulus bill was 1,100 pages. The climate bill that the House passed in June was 1,200 pages. Bill Clinton's 1993 health care plan was famously 1,342 pages long. Budget bills can run even longer. In 2007, President Bush's ran to 1,482 pages. Over the last several decades, the number of bills passed by Congress has declined. In 1948, Congress passed 906 bills. In 2006, it passed only 482. At the same time, the total number of pages of legislation has gone up from slightly more than 2,000 pages in 1948 to more than 7,000 pages in 2006. That was 15 years ago, folks. You think it got better when Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer took over? When the Democrats complain the Project 2025 document is too long to read, so things are being slipped in without the public knowing, are they really revealing more about themselves than they realize? They are terrified about what might be hidden in Project 2025, when anyone at any time can go read it whenever they want. But as far as legislation, well, you just have to trust Congress on that one and deal with the consequences afterwards.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
So, Democrats, I actually agree with you. There should be an absolute cap on the length of legislation so Congress and the people can verify that nothing is being snuck into the massive stack of pages that could potentially be fascistic. But it's not just the bill itself that is suffocating the American people and squashing their freedoms and liberties. According to USA Today, regarding the Affordable Care Act, the nearly 11,000 pages of regulations for this one law alone would reach 3 feet high if you made the mistake of printing it. DNC speakers repeatedly accused Trump of using Project 2025 to bring about fascism if he returns to the White House. The problem is we've already experienced 4 years of Trump's actions and policies, and we know this accusation is not true. If he was a dictator, we would have not only seen it in his first term, he never would have left office like Biden accused of him planning on doing in 2020. Yet he did. But now we're supposed to believe that if he gets back in, well, this time he'll go all dictator on us and never leave. Fascism is government overreach, including into private businesses through government bureaucracy. They actually control the people by using businesses through public-private partnerships to institute rules, regulations, and censorship the government is not constitutionally allowed to do. A truly un-American, pro-fascist concept, one that the Biden-Harris administration is abusing to its limits. But it's all Alinsky projection tactics. Just check out what they claim Trump will do as compared to what Biden and Harris have done. For those of you who don't know, packing the Supreme Court and confiscating weapons are rules for tyranny 101. And be honest, who's actually pushing for that? I'll give you a hint. It's not Trump. Among the freedoms and liberties the left claims Trump will steal from us is contraceptives. They hate that the Supreme Court overruled Roe v. Wade, taking it from a federal issue, which it is not, and giving it back to the states where it belongs per the 10th Amendment. But abortion and reproductive rights have always been a scare tactic the left has used against conservatives. Do you remember when George Stephanopoulos posed this question to Mitt Romney during the primaries in 2012?
Governor Romney, I want to go straight to you. Senator Santorum has been very clear in his belief that the Supreme Court was wrong when it decided that a right to privacy was embedded in the Constitution. And following from that, he believes that states have the right to ban contraception. Now, I should add that he said he's not recommending that states do that. Well, I'll be clear. Absolutely, I'm giving you your due.
We're talking about 10th Amendment and the right of states to act.
But I do want to get to that core question. Governor Romney, do you believe that states have the right to ban contraception, or is that trumped by a constitutional right to privacy?
George, this is an unusual topic that you're raising. The states have a right to ban contraception. I can't imagine a state banning contraception. I can't imagine the circumstances where a state would want to do so. And if I were a governor of a state or a legislator of a state, I would totally and completely oppose any effort to ban contraception. So you're asking, given the fact that there's no state that wants to do so, and I don't know of any candidate that wants to do so, you're asking, could it constitutionally be done? We can ask our constitutionalist here.
Well, Governor, I'm sure Congressman Paul.
Okay, come on back.
Asking you, do you believe that states have that right or not?
George, I don't know whether the state has a right to ban contraception. No state wants to. I mean, the idea of you putting forward things that states might want to do that no state wants to do and asking me whether they could do it or not is kind of a silly thing, I think.
Governor,
No one, anywhere, was concerned about contraceptives being banned. It was a made-up issue by the left to scare voters, especially women. Just like Hollywood, these people have actually nothing new to give this country. They just keep repackaging the same old, tired fairy tales. With Trump, they're attacking him regarding the in vitro fertilization, even though he has repeatedly shown strong support for the procedure. Harris brought it up again in the debate, but it is a total lie, like everything else Harris said in the debate. So where is the left getting their talking points for Project 2025? From a Democracy Forward document produced to explain Project 2025 to the people. They proudly proclaim, we read Project 2025's entire 900-plus page mandate for leadership so that you don't have to.
He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job. He can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
And now you know why they don't want you to read it for yourself. In my videos, I tell people to check things out for themselves. I link the articles I reference in my videos on my website. Other conservative commentators do the same. Like the Apostle Paul, we tell people, don't take our word for it. Go check it out for yourself. It was this exact instruction from Glenn Beck that inspired me to start researching history over a decade ago, which led me to my blog and now these videos. I feel it's important to point out that Democracy Forward's board includes Mark Elias, former Chief General Counsel to Hillary Clinton. He worked with her on such things as the Russian dossier, claiming she didn't have a private server, and Russian interference in the election in 2016, all which had been proven complete and utter hoaxes. But Elias is trustworthy here, right? Remember when Alinsky said, accuse your opponent of what you are doing to create confusion and inculcate voters against evidence of your own guilt? The attacks against Project 2025 are a pure propaganda scare tactic, and the media are just vomiting out Elias's accusations without even a second of investigative journalism. Unfortunately, convention goers were buying the lies. Don Lemon interviewed several of those in attendance regarding Project 2025 and posted this video of their thoughts.
Do you think people are going to vote based on Project 2025 and how dangerous it is?
People are talking about it. It has real resonance and salience among regular voters now. I'm worried about election integrity. I'm worried about women's right to choose and reproductive health. I'm worried about how we classify federal employees. It's a long list.
Do you think people know enough about Project 2025?
Project 2025 is relatively unknown. I think it's gotten a lot of buzz recently, but I think a lot of people don't want to read 900 pages of anything, so the really long format that the Heritage Foundation has put it in makes it so that a lot of people don't want to read about it.
We've been talking to people about Project 2025.
Yeah.
Do you think people know how serious that is?
No. It's a comprehensive document that is quite lengthy. And the reality is that most people, don't really take the time to be able to read it.
What do you want people to know about it?
That it is everything that is against America. It is a blueprint for destroying our country. We have the opportunity to do something to make sure that this document never sees the light of day in our White House. I don't see me or you being included in that 25 in a positive way. The Trump plan has nothing that is beneficial for black men, but to put us back where we came from many, many years ago.
We got to go and vote. The excitement's great, but this excitement will mean nothing if we don't win. So let's just keep the momentum going and then go and vote.
I would love for you guys to go to project2025.com and learn a little bit more about Trump's absolutely radical agenda.
The last person in that video is from Daily Wire. The site he referenced and then Don promoted was actually a troll designed to promote Matt Walsh's new movie, Am I Racist? Once Lemon found this out, he removed the video from his X feed, but as we all know, the internet is forever. And so is the evidence of this blatant misrepresentation of Project 2025. In fact, weeks after the convention and proof that Trump is not involved in Project 2025, Harris not only posted the lie on her issues page of her website, she kept repeating it at the debate even though Trump debunked it. If she's willing to blatantly lie about this, what else is she lying about? After watching the debate the other night, apparently everything. Remember, even CNN said Trump is not involved in Project 2025, but notice the complicit ABC moderators never fact-checked her, did they? On that or any of the 1,000 other lies she told, like what Trump said in Charleston, Trump's stance on IVFs and abortion, and that he was weak on foreign policy. Yeah, he was so weak, the world was at relative peace the whole time he was in office. And leaders today are telling the world, if we want peace again, we need Trump back in office. Zelensky is willing to meet with Trump if it means peace. If Trump was so weak, why does he trust Trump's foreign policy over Harris's? Simple, because Obama's and Biden's Secretary of State, Victoria Nuland, not only stopped the peace talks in 2022, she was the cause of the conflict that started the whole Russian-Ukraine conflict in 2014. There's more about that in my last video, which I linked below. Harris blatantly lied that officers died as the result of January 6th, when they actually died of natural causes and unfortunately some suicides after the fact, which the left could have cared less about during the riots the summer before, as thousands of cops were injured, with some being ambushed and executed just for wearing the uniform, with others also committing suicide, because quite frankly, she was pushing to defund the police.
You know, for far too long, the status quo thinking has been to believe that by putting more police on the street, you're going to have more safety. And that's just wrong.
Does that mean you support proposals like what we've seen in Los Angeles, Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million?
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
It is outdated. It is wrong-headed thinking to think that the only way you're going to get communities to be safe is to put more police officers on the street. We have to reimagine public safety and how we do public safety in our country.
One local radio show asked then-Senator Kamala Harris where she stood on the defund the police movement.
Defund the police. The issue behind it is that we need to reimagine how we are creating safety. And when you have many cities that have 1/3 of their entire city budget focused on policing, we know that is not the smart way and the best way or the right way to achieve safety. This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets and figure out whether it reflects the right priorities. For too long, the status quo thinking has been you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong.
She lied that she supports fracking when she promised to ban it.
My family lives in western Pennsylvania, where fracked gas wells have become a common sight. Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
She lied about raising money to let violent criminals go during the summer riots, while her DOJ incarcerates every 85-year-old grandmother and veteran they are relentlessly tracking down who happened to be in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. I could go on because every time she opened her mouth, it was dripping with lies, and the moderators said nothing, even though they were obvious untruths, many of which I've already debunked in my previous videos. But let's get back to the topic at hand. Before the convention, Glenn Beck interviewed the president of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, reading off some of these accusations, asking him to respond if they were true or not.
The best way to start, and we'll go into detail, I know, is to say it is total projection by the left. I mean, you, perhaps more than anyone in our modern age, has shown us how whatever the left is accusing our side of is actually something they themselves are guilty of. And so Project 2025 is actually a corrective to the very thing the left is accusing us of doing.
Seconds. I just want to run through some true and false, because these are the things that are being said about it. I just want to know if this is true or false. Sure. In Project 2025, there is a call to end no-fault divorce. True or false?
False.
Complete ban on abortions without exceptions. True or false?
Extraordinarily false.
Ban contraceptives. True or false?
False.
Higher taxes for the working class.
False. Well, the exact opposite.
Additional tax breaks for corporations and the 1%.
False.
Elimination of unions and worker protections. My gosh, look at what they're saying.
I know. So false.
Cut Social Security.
False.
Raise the retirement age.
False.
End the Affordable Care Act.
False.
Raise prescription drug prices.
False.
Eliminate the Department of Education.
True, my friend. That's the one thing they get right.
Love that. Use public taxpayer money for private religious schools. True or false?
False.
Teach Christian religious beliefs in public schools.
False. We understand it's a pluralistic country. We love those schools, but that's up to people to decide.
End civil rights and DEI protections in government.
Well, we definitely want to end DEI nonsense, but obviously the great thing about Project 2025 is that we're restoring civil rights, if anything.
Ban books and curriculum about slavery.
False.
Ending climate projections or protections.
Well, the ones that aren't based on science will come to an end, but we certainly understand the value of science in protecting the environment.
Here are a few things Project 2025 does wish to implement.
No citizen should ever be afraid that the President of the United States is going to get them. That this election would put somebody in office where he could take away freedoms of people he didn't like or didn't agree with. I am absolutely against that, because I know it always comes around to bite whoever did it in the butt, because they'll eventually get to you. And that's not our system. This ensures that the president, no matter which side they're on, doesn't have that power to get his enemies or to just rule his way without the consent of Congress and the people.
As described by Roberts, Project 2025 is an outline to shrink government agencies, hinder government overreach, reduce business-killing regulations, increase freedoms and entrepreneurship, implement policies which allow people to keep more of their money, and return the country to the limited government we were founded on, all which would completely decimate the deep state and their chokehold on America. It is the complete opposite of fascism, and that is why they are terrified of Project 2025. So, what's the truth here? The media or Kevin Roberts and Glenn Beck? Here's a thought. If you don't know who to believe, go read the actual document for yourself and see who is lying and who is telling the truth. I put the link to their site in the description box below. If you believe Elias and the left think the Heritage Foundation is just covering for themselves, but you refuse to look at Project 2025 for yourself, why? What are you afraid you'll discover? Why are you capitulating to what people tell you instead of reviewing it for yourself? Yes, it's 900 pages, but I guarantee it will not take you long at all to determine who is telling the truth and who is outright lying to you. I'm Rosie the Riveter, and that's my 2 cents, but what do you think? Leave your comments down below. If you enjoy my content, please consider supporting my work on Patreon. You can find all my videos and my blog, Liberating Letters, at thefaxpaper.com. You can also start your own research on the Facts Paper by exploring the thousands of links to articles I have, including those noted in my videos. Sharing the truth, fake news propagandists won't. Investigate and discover the truth for yourself.